Hey friends, happy Easter. It's Sunday afternoon. I figured since it's Easter, today might be a good day to make an egg white cocktail. Now, egg white cocktails have been around since the early 1900s. Fact check me on that, I'm not sure. And the good thing about an egg white cocktail is you can basically use any kind of spirit you prefer: rum, tequila, whiskey. The most popular would be the whiskey sour. So I'm going to do a variation of that. Now, anytime you're making an egg white cocktail, it can be as simple as this: 2 ounces of your favorite spirit, half an ounce of lemon juice, half an ounce of simple syrup, and the egg white. So for this, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I saw a recipe online that sounds really good, and I happen to have some of the stuff to make it. It's a cranberry simple paper plane egg white drink from a woman whose link I will post on here if I can find it. So what I happen to have here is some cranberry simple that I bartered for. I gave my future brother-in-law Carlos 3 White Claw limes and 4 ounces of ginger liqueur, and he gave me this cranberry simple and some cachaça that I'm going to use later. So anyway, enough talk. I'm going to make the cocktail. Now, when you're making an egg white drink, or when I'm making an egg white drink, I always do the egg white part first, because you don't want to put all your alcohol in your mixer and then crack the egg white and screw it up and waste your alcohol. So having made many egg white cocktails in the past, I learned to do the egg white first. I've never been very good at this, and I haven't done this in a really long time, so I hope I don't mess it up. But all you're going to do is you're going to crack the egg and open it in half, and then you're going to transfer all the goo inside over and over again, catching the yolk until all the white has separated. And I managed to do it on the first take. Now I just got to figure out what to do with this egg. I'll just put it over here for now. All right, so I have my egg white in there, so now I can confidently add the rest of the ingredients. Now, this recipe calls for 3/4 Aperol, my favorite thing on the planet besides an espresso and water. So we're going to go 3/4 of Aperol, 3/4 of an amaro. This is the amaro that I'm rolling with these days, so I'm going to stick with it. I actually thought that it was pretty good in the last cocktail I made. I wouldn't drink it alone, but it works as a nice compliment. Then I'm going to do 3/4 bourbon. I'm working with this Larceny bourbon, which is very nice. And 3/4 of lemon juice. Now, the last little bit of that is, of course, the cranberry simple. Thanks again, Carlos. I believe this is an old recipe from Mike's Courtside that Craig actually came up with, so thanks for the inspiration there. And I have all my ingredients in there. Now, the thing is, when you're making an egg white cocktail, you're going to do a dry shake. So what a dry shake is, it means you're just shaking all of the ingredients without ice. We're eventually going to add ice, but first it calls for a dry shake. Now, the shaking of the egg white cocktail is pretty intense. Back in the day, they used to have like a line of bartenders across the bar, and they would each shake for several minutes and hand it to each other, and it ended up being like this whole process. Now, I'm definitely going to shake the hell out of this thing, and while I do that, I'll just tell you a little bit about why people use egg whites in their drinks. First of all, you're not really going to taste the egg, so don't be thrown off by that. I'm definitely not big in the kitchen, but I know that a lot of times when you're baking with egg, it doesn't turn the cake into a weird egg cake. Weird egg cake is definitely a professional term that I'm using. What it does is, what the egg white in the cocktail does is, it creates a really, really nice, silky smooth texture when you drink it. And there's some science, some crazy science, you can Google it, behind egg whites, where it kind of like intensifies the flavor of the rest of the ingredients. I don't know, I read it in a book once, so it's got to be true. Aside from that, it's just kind of a really fancy way to have a cocktail in your garage on a Sunday during quarantine. So since I'm fancy, I figured I'd do so. Now, I guess I've been shaking enough. I mean, we don't want this to be like a 15-minute video. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move on to the wet shake. Now that I did my dry shake. A lot of times these get stuck. So just give it a little wrap and you should be able to open it up. Okay, so I'm gonna add my ice to do the wet shake. Oh, it already smells delightful. I'm excited about this. And I'm gonna give it a nice shake now to get it nice and cold. We'll continue that process. I believe it's called emulsification. Again, fact check me, feel free. Shaking that up until it gets really cold to the touch. And since it's really frothy, I'm gonna open that up if possible. And instead of pouring it out of this little guy, I'm gonna use my strainer to pour it. So you're gonna wanna drink an egg white cocktail in a coupe glass. Again, a coupe glass is that fancy martini glass with the rounded edges. I don't have any of those. So I'm just gonna pour it into my martini glass, which I've garnished with 5 cranberries. Remember, odd number always. And as you see, it has a really nice color to it. And it's got that really nice frothiness. Now this cocktail is looking very nice. Hopefully it tastes very nice as well. And my last ingredient, a lot of times for egg white cocktails, people will kind of garnish them with bitters. Obviously the bitters are gonna add to the taste as well, but you just get a few dots there on the top. And then you can use a spoon or a stirrer or whatever, your finger, if you're making it for yourself, to kind of give it like a nice swirl. Again, looking pretty good. You can't see it from here, but it looks cool. And give it a taste. Cheers, guys. Stay healthy. Oh, it's very, very good.